Hello and welcome to another video of biohackingmyillness.com. My name is Arthur and today I will be talking about my microbiome. I've been testing and improving my microbiome since early 2021, and in this video I will be talking about the things that I've been doing and how the tests that I've done at Biomesight came up, and what the results mean and everything. Now, please note that neither my website nor any of the videos in this particular channel are meant to cure, treat, or diagnose any illness. So please take that in mind. If you have any kind of condition, please talk to a doctor. Don't just Google things online and try to resolve them by yourself. Now, regarding my microbiome, so I have two different tests. I've done one in end of January 2021, and then I've done one in July the 6th, 2021. And I would like to show you the differences between these tests. So the first sample, 20th January 2021, I had good diversity. It was 94, which is great. Probiotics were not that hot though. I only had a score of 61%, and this just means that it's a score by Biomesight. It doesn't have to be highly scientific. They usually say that more or 80%. I mean 80% or more than that is set. It's good. And if it is below 50, then it's very bad. And between 50 and 80 needs work. Now, again, this is not, ultra scientific. If you're 79, you need a lot of work. If you're 81, you're good to go. It's nothing like that. I would say that a healthy person should aim at rank 100 in these tests. And that would mean that all bacteria are in check. Now, I will go through my test and tell you, what I found. Akkermansia is it's a very important bacteria that is usually actually neglected. And Akkermansia pretty much feeds off of mucus. So if you have inflammation going on and you have a lot of mucus, this is usually very high. Now you can see that I have this particular Muciniphilia species that accounted for all the Akkermansia that I had, and it was at 365%. Now, if we go to the latest sample, July, you can see that Akkermansia was already out of the range, and matter of fact, it went higher and almost by 1%, which is quite a lot. For this particular bacteria, since we should have between 1 and 3% of the microbiome. I still have the very same one. I suspect that because Akkermansia is a bacteria that feeds off of mucus, I had a lot of mucus going on this quarter. I mean, these quarters, it was this period actually comprises 2 quarters. I aim to do 3 of these tests every year, so I will get another one in December, hopefully better. And basically I've been doing water enemas that really irritate my gut lining and make my gut to produce a lot of mucus. And I believe that that's the reason why Akkermansia rose, because prior to this I've been following, in terms of Akkermansia, it's pretty much the same diet. The fibers that I use are not meant to increase Akkermansia, so I believe that's a problem. By the way, you can see that in this particular tab, probiotics, I've gone up from 61% to 61 points to 67, which is not a major improvement. A big problem that I have these days is Bifidobacterium and Lactobacillus. So these are pretty much non-readable, and my score is really low. I mean, Biomesight shows a score of 50%. Because we are supposed to have, not so much of lactobacillus, and since you have a little bit of it, Biomesight is going to rank this high, but or at least at 50%. I don't think that my score in this particular one is this high, because it's 0.00%. I'm definitely running very, very low on lactobacilli, and I think that I need to increase lactobacillus quite a lot. As for bifidobacterium, this is a much of a bigger problem. I actually have sort of the double of what I have in terms of lactobacilli, but it's way too far from the optimal range, which starts at 2.5%. So this one is actually my main problem. If we compare this sample with January, we will see that it's pretty much the same thing. They increased very, very little amounts, which in my book didn't even increase. So these ones are messed up, and I really have, I mean, these are the focus for, until December. These are exactly what I want to up now. Bilophia is now, and keep in mind that this is the July sample, so it is now at 4.312%. And this is very close to the ideal range, which starts at 5%. Back in January, it was only at 4%. So it's also not a substantial increase, but we're not talking a bacteria that we would like to have loads of. And I think that the work that I've done in terms of diet and fiber have contributed to a higher count of Bilophia. We can also list the species of each Bilophia. And this particular one, the main one, the one that I had the most, has no species, and the second one is Cocotus. If we go to July, Bilophia is pretty much the same, except that now I have this one species that I didn't have before. So I think in terms of diversity, is also good to have this. Bilophia is probably going to increase a lot, since some of the probiotics that I intend to use for December are definitely going to raise this one. By the way, if you would like to take this test yourself, you should go back to the description of the video. I've got a link there, so you buy it with a promotion code, you get a specific discount. I don't remember how much, and it actually changes all the time. And I make a small commission on that as well. So it's a win-win situation. It's cheaper for you, and I get a commission. So if you want to take this test, go to the description of the video and click on the link. Then I'm still in the July sample. The fecali is now optimal at 18.25%, and in January I already had an optimal amount of it, but now it's higher. So it's I would say it's better, but I now have to be cautious not to raise it too much. Roseburia was at 0.65%, which is definitely way too low for the importance of this bacteria. In July, with all the work that I've done, I was able to increase it quite a lot. This was actually a substantial amount, which leads me to think that this particular one, Roseburia, is definitely affected by the fibers that I've been consuming. And I'll tell you more about it. But I think that I've done a great work increasing Roseburia, and I will see continuous results with it in the next months. Raminococcus is now at 1.734%. It's optimal. Some people have 0 of this, and Biomesight says it's optimal. It was very high. It was at 5 back in January. It was at 5%. I think that here we have the competition factor. So because I've increased Roseburia and Akkermansia to some extent, and also Bilophia to some extent, I think that Raminococcus has naturally gone down, because competition is higher, and species fight for better for expansion, and so if you increase one of them, it's likely that the other ones go low. Now in January, I had a very satisfactory commensals rate at 98%. This is pretty much optimal. But I didn't have two species, and Biomesight says it's optimal to have 0.0 of both Ubibacterium and Prevotula. I think that, we should have some of this, especially because the range goes from 0 to 30% and 0 from 15% respectively for both. And, I think that I should have more of this. And also, having more of these are probably going to keep bacteroidetes and bacteroids in check, which sadly became much worse in July. So now I have, I think, lower, just give me a sec here. Well, it's pretty much the same amount for Eobacterium and Prevotula, but I now have very high bacteroids and bacteroidetes. And the main reason for this, I've been having a diet that consists of high amounts of fat and meat, and I don't think that as long as I cut it down substantially, I will be able to cut these down substantially. Now, what I believe is that competition, because I'm increasing the good bacteria, the probiotics, and I will try to increase them quite substantially until December, these are going to go naturally down, and I really hope that. I can tell you that if you have this and if you're willing to go on a mostly vegan or vegetable / plant-based diet, these are going to go down. Sadly, I don't believe in that diet for my specific case. That's not what I want for my body, and so these are high. Now, it does remember me to keep fat, reduced to some extent. And sometimes I will cut down meat. My current diet consists of meat at least twice a day. Most of the times I have meat 3 times a day, which explains some of the high bacteroids and bacteroidetes. And I will try to cut it here and there and also cut fat out. Now, the fat that I have in my diet is, of course, healthy fat. It's olive oil, coconut oil, and the fat that meat has. I also believe that changing from very high fat meat, such as beef, which is pretty much what I've been living on, to turkey will improve these. And this is also something that I'll adjust this semester. Now, the biggest result that I had, and overall, we can come here to overview and compare. In January, I had a total of 68%, and now I have 78%, which according to Biomesight is almost satisfactory. So clearly I've done a lot of things in July and in the first semester up until July that were good for my gut. And I think that the main result was getting rid of the bad guys. So we have the January sample here. I had 40 out of 100, which is really bad. And the first 2 bacteria were 0. Methano is something that can impact SIBO, so you want to make sure that this one is optimal all the time. And then I also had, so the first 2 are really comparable, 0.042%. This one is high. It was higher. It's now closer to 0, which is good. The second one is 0. And the one that was really, really bad was proteobacteria. And this is a family of bacteria that you really don't want much of. And E. coli was really the #1 bacteria. I had more than 5%. And in fact, if you come to the E. coli tab, you can see, that it was a huge percentage, more than 0.5%, where this E. coli should be really low. So these were high and bad, and Bilophia, which feeds off of bile mostly, was also high. Now, in July, I do have proteobacteria in check. I do have 0% of E. coli, which in my book is a great result, even though you have good and bad E. coli. I guess that E. coli, the E. coli that shows up under pathobionts is really the bad strain, not the good strain. So I'm glad that this is down to zero, and the proteobacteria, as a result of getting E. coli down, also came down. The biggest problem that I have is Bilophia, which is now at 0.843%. And before, in January, I had it at 0.645%. So it's definitely an increase, and a big one if you think about increases in terms of percentage. It was like 20%. Now, I'm also doing a lot of detox, and I'm moving bile on purpose. So even if I don't have a high meat diet or a high meat meal, I will still have bile moving because of all the other things that I pretty much provocate bile to come out. But that is a detox, story. It doesn't pertain to Bilophia itself. So I'm not increasing bile to manage Bilophia because it was already high and now it's higher. And what I want to say with this is that I know it's high, and it will probably remain like so because I'm purposely moving my bile around because I'm doing detox and I want my bile to circulate well. I'm actually working a lot on my bile ducts. I'm provocating the bile to come out. So this is probably going to be high, but the proteobacteria and the E. coli came down, and that's the biggest result that I had. And I think that this is perfect. Now, I've posted on my blog, most of the stuff that I've been doing is using stuff like large tree fiber, PHEG, and specific probiotics that were really responsible for most of these results. In the next semester, what I'll do is I will rotate other fibers. So I will be using two different fibers that are probably going to be responsible for most of the changes that we're going to see in December. And those would be gauze and acacia fiber. And then I will be rotating loads and loads and loads of probiotics because I need my bifido and my lacto to go up quite substantially. So I really would like to have my bifido at around 5%, perhaps a little less than that, but not much lower than 5%, and lactobacillus close to the 1% range. And these guys have to be fed like every other bacteria, and gauze and acacia fiber will be my main staples for these. Increasing probiotic intake is going to be instrumental because most probiotics are actually composed of bifido and lactose. So I believe that those are going to be of great help. And I just hope that it goes well. I will be writing blog posts on my blog, but I will only do the next test in December. Now, what I can tell you about the prebiotics and the probiotics that I've been doing and I will be doing is I have had very little reaction to them. They improve the looks of my stools. The only problem that I can definitely see coming from the fibers, especially the fibers and not the probiotics, is the increase of derealization, which is a symptom that I have, and it has gotten much worse. And I deeply believe that my derealization is due to a leaky gut and low, very poor gut lining integrity. And that is also something that I will be working very heavily this semester. So hopefully in December, I will have another test to show you. I mean, not hopefully, I will have for sure, but hopefully the test is going to be way better than these. And hopefully I'm picking the fibers and the probiotics and the prebiotics and everything that I'm using for my gut well based off of these tests. So I hope this goes well. I hope to see you around in December. Please remember that this blog, I'm not paid to do any of this. I would like to be supported by people who believe that my content is valuable for them. So if you do have any, if you find this valuable and you would like to contribute to this project, to make it possible and grow it, you are more than welcome to send a donation through PayPal to my PayPal account, which is biohackingmyillness@gmail.com. And any donation is fine. Sometimes people donate $1, that is fine. Sometimes people donate, I think, $200. And of course that's highly appreciated. And also, if you donate, make sure to tell me what was the most productive thing in this video and what you would like me to comment on in the next videos. So thank you so very much for sticking around, and in good health.